Well, hi, this is Mr. Waitley, and today I'm going to go over standard with you graphing two variable equations, linear equations that are, using the slope and the intercept. So I'm going to show you how you can, solve those equations on the coordinate plane without making a table. Okay, so here's table-free graphing. Woohoo! Sounds exciting. All right, so you guys have seen this before. You guys, I told you this is an equation that has two variables. You can easily solve it by plugging in values, coming up with numbers, and then plotting them, and then drawing the graph. And that graph is a picture of all the x's and y's that are part of the solution, okay? Well, now that you know something about slope, I can show you the shortcut, okay? Yes, there is a shortcut, and I can share it with you now that it's not, slope is no longer top secret, okay? So let's start with this one, y equals 3x, okay? I'll just use the table as scratch paper. Woohoo! Feel the power. Every linear equation like this has an x term, and then there's a number that comes after it. And you're like, but Mr. Waitley, there's no number there. Well, truly there is. This has got a 5 after it, and this has a -5 after it. So what number is after here? It's invisible. Okay, I'll buy that. So guess what? The number that follows is plus or minus 0 in this case. So every linear equation like this has two parts. Well, it's got y, and then it's got an equal sign. Then it has two things. It has the x term, and then the number after it. Okay? Number after it is called the Y-intercept. And all that means is it's where the line intercepts. If you're a Raiders fan, you really know that term, intercept, right? Okay. Anyway, that is literally the point on the y-axis that the line crosses. So here's the y-axis. This number is 0. So where's 0 on the y-axis? Oh, the origin. There you go. Okay. And that's how you're going to graph these. The very first thing you're going to do is plot, meaning draw the point, plot the intercept. And you literally just have to look for it, see it, plot it. That's all. Okay? Now, the next step, I'll use red for this. The second step is what I'm going to call walk the slope. Okay? Because you're mine. I walk the slope. Now, the slope in this equation, the slope is of the line is always found right in front of the x variable, in front. So the slope of this one is 3. The slope of this one is 3. Good. The slope of this one is 2. Good. The slope of this one is 2. Good. You get the idea? All right. Now, we know the intercepts, so we put a point on the grid, and we know the slope. And the slope in this case is, I'm going to write it down. Now, you were told that slope in that video the other day, slope is a measure of two things. It is the rise on top over the run. In this case, we have no number below. So what can you put here? What's going to make this equivalent to 3? Exactly. 3 over 1. So there you have it. That is your slope. So if this is a point on the line and that is the slope, I'm going to start here. I'm going to walk the slope of up 3 over 1, and then I'm going to draw or plant another point. I'll put draw. Then that will give us the 2 points we need to make a line. So watch. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. It's at 0. Great. Now the slope is 3 over 1. So I'm going to, and it's positive, and that's a big deal. It's positive. That means we're going to go up 3 because that's a positive direction. And then we're going to head to the right, which is a positive direction. So look what happens. Up 1, 2, 3 over 1. You can do it 4 or 5 times if you want. Up 1, 2, 3 over 1. Up 1, 2, 3 over 1. And guess what? There's your line. Voila. I want you to take the time, please, to draw the arrowheads at the end. And that's it. Okay? That is all. So if you need to jot down those notes, make a mental note of it, or take a snapshot or a screenshot or something, go ahead. I'm going to erase it. And we're going to move over to the 3x plus 5. Y equals 3x plus 5. Okay, so what's the intercept? That means we're going to draw that point at 5 on the y-axis. Okay, so here we go. We're going to always do that first. Okay, I'm going to do that first, always. Don't do it the other way around ever. So the slope, we'll get to in a minute, but for now we're looking at the intercept. The intercept says plus 5. So that means we're going to go to 5 on the y-axis and plant a point right on the y-axis. Okay. Now we look at the slope. Look, the slope in this case is 3. You must make it a ratio because it's rise over run. So in this case, you're going to put 1 down below. And then we're going to walk the slope from here, not the origin, from the first point. And we'll go up 3 over 1. They're both positive. And there's enough. We have 2 points. That way we can draw the line. You can draw in your flechas, your arrowheads. Oops. Because that shows us that the line just continues and continues forever. All right? That's how it's done. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one then. Y equals 2x. Well, there's no intercept written, so you can put in plus or minus. It doesn't matter, but you wouldn't put minus. Write in a 0. So this one will be at 0. Its slope in this case is 2. And that's not 2 numbers, so you have to give it a 1 down below. There it is. So the slope's 2 over 1. So from this point, we're going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And from there, you can draw the line. This line represents all the x's and y pairs that are part of the solution. Okay? I'm going to erase all this in just a moment. Okay. Good. And we'll do one other. We'll do this 2x minus 5. And in this case here, again, the y-intercept, it's often written as this. You guys are going to see this in algebra. You're going to see y equals mx plus b. Mark my words. You will know this. Okay? And all this is it shows a slope-intercept equation. The slope, which is represented by m, is always in front of x. And the intercept always comes after x. And the sign on that number decides if it's going to be plotted at a positive point on the y-axis or a negative. Okay? So this equation up here, I'm going to write it down below, y equals 2x minus 5. The intercept is, and you have to pay attention to that, it's minus 5. So you're not going to go to 5 and plant the point. You can go to negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there it is, way down there. And the slope of this is in front of x. Well, the slope is 2. So for you to make it a rise over run, you're going to give it a leg to stand on. There you go. And then you're going to do that from the point you drew, from the very first point you drew, you're going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2. You don't have to keep doing this, but you can. It's a definite repeating pattern, okay? All right, I'm going to do that. Going to do this. Going to do this, okay? So that is how you graph the solution to a linear equation without using the table method. I think you can agree that this would be it's quite a time saver, right? So the only other thing maybe I'll show you possibly is, looking at something like y equals x. What's the slope on that? There's no number in front of x. What is the number in front of x? Y equals x. Well, you need to have the intercept and the slope in order for you to graph this. And if we look at it, well, there's no number behind it, so easily all you do always is just write in or mentally write in a +0. So we know the intercept is at 0, and there's no literal, oh, that's a crazy intercept. There's no literal number in front of x. What is the number? Would it be 0? No, because 0 times x would be 0 and it'd be gone. So what we really have here in this case is 1. You guys should know that by now, -1. So you are going to make the slope 1, and then slope is 1. Well, obviously, it's not a ratio. You have to put a second number. You're going to put a 1 down below. The slope's 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. You get the idea? Okay. Good. And you draw the arrowheads and be finished. Okay. What's the slope on, let's see, how about this one here? What's the slope on this? Send it in chat. Good. What's the intercept on this one? Send it in chat. Good. That's all you need to know. How about this one? What's the slope on this one? Send it in chat. What's the intercept on this one? Send it in chat. Does this lean left or right? I don't know. Let's see. All right. I'm going to graph this one. This one is y equals -4x. So the slope is -4 over 1, and the intercept is at 0. So I'll put the point here. Now, this is how I walk slope. And the guy in the video, the roller coaster dude, he did it a little bit differently. He said, oh, if you're counting negative slope, this is how I do it. You might choose to do it my way. When I walk slope, I always, no matter what the sign on slope, I always go up first. So look, here I go, up 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I look at it and decide, okay, is the slope negative or positive? This is a negative slope. So I have to go a negative direction. And that negative direction is to the left. Up 4, left 1. See that? That's how I walk the slope. And you're welcome to do it that way if you want. I just want you to understand it's not the only way to do it, but it's definitely accurate and it's consistent and it's doable. Okay? So again, that was a negative slope. So I started with this point. I went up. I considered the slope. Oh, it's negative, and I went left. If it were a positive slope, I'd just head to the right. That's all. But in this case, I had to go one negative direction, and I did. Okay, so we'll practice a little bit, and I think you realize that there's a lot of big words, but you got this. No problem. Okay? All right, thank you. Have a great day.